I do want to ask you about some of what you're seeing down there in Texas, or what you've seen in Uvalde, and just kind of what your reaction is, having been down there on the ground. Have you gotten an opportunity to talk to some of the parents and even some of the Uvalde PD, which we really, now they're not even talking to the Texas Department of Public Safety. So I'm wondering if you got an opportunity to talk to any of the police as well as the parents down there.
So yes, and sort of talked to a number of the parents, including the parents of some of the people who died, including one father, Javier Cesara. I don't think I'll ever forget him, who was among the parents in front of the school begging the police to do more. It turns out at that very time, his daughter was bleeding out inside that classroom. So yes. And then I also got a chance to talk to some of the police officers. You rightly point out, Jason, that the head of the Uvalde School District Police Department that made the decision to wait and to stand outside the classroom, he won't even talk to the Texas Rangers who are right now investigating this. And that says an awful lot. It perhaps leads people to believe that he intentionally maybe misled them or said things that were not 100% factual, because now if he's not willing to talk, it kind of changes the dynamic. The takeaway I had is that anytime you cover a school shooting or the death of children, it's profoundly sad. Anytime you interview parents of dead children, which people in local news have done all too often, it's really terrible. What was different here is that everything in that school was the way it was, what we were told would prevent school shootings. They had locked doors that automatically locked. They had active shooter training. They had the SWAT team in. They had visitor logs. They had social media monitoring. They had one way in and one way out. They had all of these things, and yet the shooting still happened. And the police, who were supposed to be trained as the last resort, failed. And they failed in their training, which tells you that if your kid is at school anywhere in America that has all those things and has done all the right things, they may not be safe either.
Yeah, there was a spectacular array of failures, and we still don't actually have all the details, because even today the story seems to be changing. The San Antonio papers are now reporting that the door was not actually held open by a rock at the time that the shooter entered the building. The teacher had supposedly kicked the rock out and had slammed the door shut. There's video of this now, and I know, Leland, you've covered a lot of chaotic events around the globe, and certainly the early reports have a very high tendency of being wrong. But have you ever seen this many official statements that are direct contradictions of the events over the course of just a week's time?
Probably not. I've also, in fairness to the Texas Department of Public Safety, who I think has done an extraordinary job at trying to be transparent. Sometimes, the media wants it both ways. They want all the information right now, and then they demand that it be perfect. And the fog of war is real. You ask 20 cops or you ask 20 eyewitnesses to an event what happened, you will get 25 different stories. And over the next week, you'll get different stories from them as they remember things and see things differently. So the concept of getting it, what did someone put the rock in the door and then they kicked the rock out and then the door closed but didn't latch, versus the rock was still in and therefore it didn't close all the way. I don't know how you discern that on videotape. You're talking about a couple of millimeters in a door latch. So no, I've never seen anything be so wrong, but in fairness, I've never seen an attempt by law enforcement to be as transparent as they were. And I was at the press conferences on Thursday and Friday, and obviously on Friday, where the head of the Texas Department of Public Safety came out and said all the things that had been done wrong and really took it on the chin from the media. And he stood there and he took every question. And I had to you got to really hand it to them. It wasn't DPS's fault. Wasn't his fault. He wasn't the one who made the decision not to go into that classroom.